So hello everyone, and welcome to my review of Mahoutsukai no Yome Hitsunu Hoshi Matsu Hito, the OVA, right? The whole 3 episode. The last episode was released yesterday, so episode 3, and I saw it just an hour ago. And the other episode I've seen earlier. Episode 1 was released last year, and episode 2 was released, I think, in March of this year, so like a half a year ago, and it was a year ago. In the fall coming now, like the next season, we're gonna get this anime. So we're gonna get like a weekly anime of Mahoutsukai no Yome, which is the actual anime name then. The Hoshi Matsu Hito was of course the actual book that she had in this OVA then. So this is gonna be some, it's gonna be some spoilers, but I'm gonna start without the spoilers. We're going to spoil it later than I warn with spoilers generally. Of course it has to talk about spoilers in general, because it's kind of like if you haven't watched anime at all, then what you expect and so on, so I have to give you some kind of presentation, right? But I won't get into details. But so after one. So first of all, this anime is about a girl that is a human girl, but she can see ghosts and so on. And we don't know this yet to be shown in anime, but we know the premise, and she has sold herself into like a slavery with like this Asian magus, which comes from the name then, the bride of the Asian magus, meaning the title of it. And this actually isn't shown at all in this OVA. So I was a little surprised with that. I thought the OVA is gonna be a kind of like the backstory about how they met, how they got like engaged or married or whatever and so on, right? And how that happened, because in the anime episode 1 she started out in her like living in this cottage, and she's like a talking dog and fairies and some magical maid, and they had this kind of life, right? And she had the books from their friends, and it's like, okay, this book's actually about my childhood, and then we get the backstory. So that's okay, I can get to how they met. But the OVA, so spoiler shit, and that's my spoiler, they don't cover that at all really. It just kind of covers her really sad childhood. This is kind of what it's about. The episode. So it's good enough. I think it's really good. It's not the best ever seen 3 episodes, but it is very nice. Especially it's very beautiful. It's kind of sad, kind of depressing anime. I do think that the anime series will have more of an action, not necessarily like action packed, but probably a little more action packed though. That being said, it's kind of like a freaky anime. Has all people are comparing it to classic Studio Ghibli and so on, in a sense. Not animation wise, but I guess kind of how the world is built around, because it does have this kind of classic Japanese folklore yokai thing, where you have this girl and she can see ghosts and so on everywhere, right? And she's like, oh, there's a ghost here, oh, there's a kind of freaky thing. And especially I think it's very noticeable is that these ghosts and so on, they're kind of like, yeah, head scratching kind of thing. They're kind of like that. They aren't like, I don't know, but I feel that generally when you look at Western media, both European and American, they're kind of more like, okay, if you see ghosts, it's more like I see dead people, and you have like either you see people or they're more like, you know, ghosts and zombies and so on, and they're kind of hideous. But when you look at anime or like the Japanese folklore mythology, yes, you do have typical yokais, which is like yuki-onas and unis and yada yada. They're more like demonic, typical demonics. But they're also, maybe thanks to Studio Ghibli and similar in the movies, but this kind of anime has a lot of this kind of freaky, weird yokais, right? It's like, oh, that is a living crane. Like, what is that thing? Or like, oh, that's a kind of blob, or like she sees these yokais, right? And they're everywhere. Like there's a kind of the slime or this well is a living thing. Oh, the rat or this evil. It's like she sees them everywhere. It's not just like a demon every now and then. It's more like, okay, yeah. And especially for Bleach, because that's kind of similar power to Ichigo being a Bleach, where he can see all of the ghosts. He sees a lot of dead people, right, in the beginning of Bleach. But they're all humans until Holosu appears in Bleach. But she sees humans and like half-eaten people and just a bunch of things. It's kind of a freaky anime in that sense. Not very like horror in that sense, but I guess it has the kind of the body modification horror thing, because there is a woman specifically, I noticed very specifically, where she is like in half. She's talking to this old lady, suddenly it's like this kind of demon ghost woman next to her, and it's just a half of a person, right? She's cut completely here, and you see the right side moving like it's a normal person, having 2 body parts, kind of, right? But that thing isn't there. That kind of weird stuff happens, and that definitely reminds you of a lot of the classic weird Japanese folklore anime things. So definitely has a lot of that going on for it, and like weird fuzzball things with the books and so on. So I think that's something in the premise here. That's gonna be something that can be very interesting in the anime coming forward. However, though, I don't know how much is gonna be in the actual anime coming this fall, because in the episode 1 we see her like living this like magical life, not a happy life, but magical, as literally magical life, and they have like fairies and so on, talking dog route. But they all seem to be, I would say, like a sentient, right? Like intelligent, magical things. But when she was growing up in her flashback, she was just living in rural Japan, kind of not rural, but like so kind of in between, not Tokyo, but like a smaller city, I would say. And yeah, it's filled with weird demons everywhere, right? So I don't know how much it could be in the actual anime. But that being said, I think it's very important to think about aesthetics of that. And the whole thing is kind of magical and so on. So, and they do that thing, they have a good scenery. It's quite a beautiful anime, but also very sad. I don't want to spoil here, I'm going to go soon into spoiler territory, but generally the premise is that no one wants her. So it also kind of gives you, yeah, it definitely fits a little cliche though. I'm not saying it's bad, but it's something we've seen before. Right? It's definitely it's like a lone child that no one wants because of X different reasons. Yada right, and she can also see ghosts, or like not ghosts, but more like, yeah, that's the thing. She doesn't really see like dead people. She more sees like weird freaks. Like dead people, it's better to see as like ghosts. She sees like half-eaten people and like a living, I don't know, toaster or something. Like it's typical kami in everything in Japan, right? So it's some good spirits and it's a lot of bad spirits everywhere. So she sees them everywhere, and of course she's really in a popular as a child, and then of course she's freaking out all the time. It's like her aunt, Obasan, something like that. Like, he eat your food. She's like, no, I don't want to. Like, what? Eat my cooking? It's like, no, it's not that, auntie. Because she sees some kind of demon, like, jumping around on the table, right? She's like, no, I don't want to go into the kitchen right now. She's like, what's wrong with you? You hate my food? Like, no, I love you, auntie. It's like, they have that kind of going back and forth with her all the time, right? So, that, of course, makes her a very, very lonely child. And, yeah, it feels kind of classic. She's lonely. She has no friends, and at the same time, she's also weird because she sees weird stuff and no one believes her, and it's like a bad circle, right? More and more, just worse and worse, right? Because people already are like, what's wrong with her, kind of, right? And then they try to be friends with her. She's like, oh, yeah, demon, yeah, and of course they're like, oh, okay, I have to talk to you. There's this scene there, just minor spoiler. There's a scene. We have this little girl, or like a young girl or something like that, maybe maximum 10, tries to befriend her a little bit, and she's like, oh, this like goes behind her or something, and it's like, oh my god, yeah, and then of course that didn't go well. So so obviously it kind of goes like that, right? She never really makes the thing, and my spoiler thing, but I think it's a general sentiment of this thing. And as I said again, that is very reminiscent of mad things you see before. It actually kind of gave me a little feel of Nico Robin's childhood in One Piece. Because she's a bookworm, so she doesn't read books. She's like, yeah, because she has some friends. I'm laughing here, but it's very simple to think about. She has some friends, so spoiler here for One Piece then, but basically, she likes reading stuff, right? Has no friends, meets one friend, and so on. So it's very similar. I can talk about more than spoilers. But yeah, definitely. So overall, I think it was really good 3 episode. Especially episode 3, when everything kind of comes together. I'm just surprised they didn't go into at all really how she met Elias, her husband, or fiance, or in the actual fall anime thing. And the pace was a little bad, episode 1 primarily. So episode 1 was kind of setting stuff up. I think actually one issue I have with episode 1 was that it kind of showed too much of her like current life. It shows too much of like her dog body and all that, without really going into detail about it. It showed that okay, this is her current life. She starts cleaning, she gets this book, she's like, oh yeah, this reminds me of my horrible childhood. It's like, okay, tell me about it. It's like, okay, fine. And that took like 5 or more minutes screen time. That was the worst part, because yes, I want to know about all these characters, which are going to be the main characters of the anime, right? But because they are really like, exposition, they just kind of there and talk a little bit, and we don't really learn anything about them really during that time frame, and it's kind of weird, kind of like, cleaning. Oh, this book. This reminds me of a horrible childhood. Time to give you a backstory. Yeah, it's kind of like, so that's setting up, right? So that's a little bad, and I will say the same thing a little bit in the end of episode 3, then after everything is over, if you kind of go back to them, they do reference back to her whole childhood, because her husband is like, okay, I know what happened to her husband. So that's interesting, but also a little slow, and also, of course, generally, the anime has several moments. It's kind of perplexing, because several moments in anime, nothing happens. It's kind of like that. So you're sitting there, but it looks very sad. I can't do it here in person. I'm the good actor, I guess. But she sits there, and she just looks really depressed, right? And it's a very sad anime. This flashback is very, very sad, very kind of depressing anime. But several points that she sits there and be like, and there's a lot of those points, or similar points if you talk to someone, and you just kind of stare at each other, or have this like almost awkward silence, but it's more like sad silence. That happens like 10 times or so. So they were really good sometimes, actually kind of emotionally impactful. Things of also that I got affected by it. But at the same time, sometimes it was like, man, no, you done it like 7 times now. It's getting a little tedious to see another like silent, sad moment. So yeah, it's a little weird. I think the pace was a little bad. Probably. Anyway, let's talk about spoilers. Finally, issue right into that thing. So basically, this is actually what I said earlier, but it starts out with her mother killing herself. So that's kind of the premise, right? Then actually it's never really explained, but they gave me kind of Harry Potter feel to it or whatever. Classic orphan kind of thing, so on, right? Like her mother is dead. Maybe she never had a father. I don't know. Maybe it's more showing another anime. I don't know. But basically, right, she gets to her Oba-san or like her something Osan, right there, some her uncle or something like that, and they hate her, right? It's kind of a classic thing there. They try to raise her, and she's horrible and so on. So very classic, you know, dead parents, horrible, yeah, whatever, cousins and so on. Gives that feeling of it. I do have to say though, she actually, I also think she deserved it, but it was kind of a little bit there where she is kind of like she's a very, very timid character, and she's also saying, like, I'm sorry all the time, and she's afraid of everything because she goes, as I mentioned earlier, she goes everywhere. So it definitely makes sense, but a little bit though, like when her aunt is like, eat my food, she's like, it's a demon on your table. Could you like get the food and start eating it in another room or something? Or at least try it, right? Because we see the auntie later, like the auntie is sad, like, oh, she hates my food, like I'm trying to be nice to her, and she doesn't eat my food, it hurts my feelings. Calling her husband, like, why does she like my food? My cooking is good and so on. Maybe she sucks cooking, but it is a sense there. Like, she at least hears that, and it feels like, I don't know, if I saw demons as a kid, maybe I wouldn't do it either, but it kind of feels a little bit, at least, in her auntie's defense. It's kind of like, at least she could say, I would love to eat your food, but can I eat it outside? She's like, oh, you're a weirdo. Like, well, it's a bit better. Like, she could at least try to, like, I don't know, meet her halfway there. She probably would piss off her anyway, say like, why don't you do the table? And like, not that table, yeah. That probably would happen, but instead of doing that, she doesn't try. So she's very afraid of everything, very timid of everything, right? And she never takes one step forward herself either. So she stands there and be like, I'm sorry, and she's afraid. So it doesn't really, yeah, so in some sense, obviously her auntie gets angry at her and so on. Explainable though. But sure, of course, they're very abusive to her. As always, kind of tragic backstory things. Oh, your mom killed herself. Oh, I'm gonna hate you. Yeah, my sister didn't love you, and I don't either. It's kind of that thing right there. So you kind of do that thing you see in 20, 30, 40 other movies and so on. And here, of course, we have I see dead people killed, and yeah, and then she sees dead people. So that is what it is, and then she finds the library, right, which is like a beautiful scenery, sort of reading and so on, and. It was a little weird actually how Murian, the library guy, didn't really like. I mean, yes, we knew that he was, I guess, dead then and so on, but I mean, generally, that he was kind of crazy with the book. She reminded. That was a little weird, and they never explained. They kept that he had like an agenda, but it never actually had an agenda, except getting her out of there. So that was a little weird. He wasn't evil, of course, but that's a little weird. And something that maybe you won't leave next time, and so on and so on. Obviously, you could speak to the library. So anyway, it gave me a lot of course, like, yeah, I see dead people sense to it. She, and that also why I remember Nico Robin. So sorry here, One Piece, this is spoiler out, One Piece spoilers. Because Nico Robin, right, she has no friends, reads books all the time. Everyone hates her, so because she had the Sheriff Devil, kind of her, like, power of demonic powers. And she gets her one only friend, and he dies after, like, a month, right? Her only friend. And it definitely gives a feel to her, get an older Osan kind of character, take care of her, and he dies. So it was very similar to that. And the mix, of course, it was like, I should have seen it earlier in episode 2 there. Of course he's dead. Yeah, of course he's dead. That was really sad thing about it. The more thing about that, the sadder it gets, that her only friend in her life, right, is dead. He's been dead for like 60 years, something like that. we see his flashback when he was in love with this rich young lady, right? And she has like great grandchildren, like 80 plus something, and he was around her age, like a college student or something. He's been dead for 60, 65 years, and wandered into that library as a spirit next to his other spirit, right? He's stuck in there as some kind of groundskeeper of the dead, right? In that library, magical library, and she's unaware of that. Doesn't feel actually everyone's aware of it in the ending, but yeah. But as a viewer, we know that her only friend is a dead person who is stuck in this, like it's a prison, like it is hell, right? Like, yeah, but in a way, he kind of likes it, but at the same time, it's kind of like he's in limbo, right? He's stuck in this library. The library, like, it captures people. Like, library is nice, but at the same time, it's not because it tries to like capture you, so you can't leave with your soul in there, right? So kind of like he is inside the library and he can't leave it. So it's like his hell, right? Honestly, or heaven, depends on look at it. But some kind of limbo there, where it's like a mediocre afterlife in a library. And he can never, yeah. So that being said, they also set up kind of the world. The rats obviously entered. It's her fault, I guess. He destroyed her library card, and I guess the kind of the rat evil demon gave her back. I think that's unclear. I guess it happened, right? There's like a door, of course, and the rat eats him and all the books. So that definitely sets up that the world have different kind of spirits, or like there are good spirits. Like he's a good spirit generally. And the book readers were evil, so those are reading books. And of course, she had the fair one in her future life. So I think the anime is right, because you do have some kind of evil or evil kind of demons, yokais, that do eat and they try to murder the good spirits and that. So that's probably going to be one of the main points, like the main plot lines of the anime, like fighting kind of evil spirits, something probably. I haven't seen it here. So but generally I found it like a really good anime. A little slow, as I mentioned some parts there, but very, very sad. A little cliche though, I would say. I mean, the general thing, the orphan child, everyone hates her, and she has superpowers, so it makes people hate her more because she's different, but also it makes her act weird. Yeah, so it's kind of like, last thing I was saying is I knew it. As soon as he was like, return this, even before he said return the book, I was like, okay, this lady here, that's gonna be the old lady we saw earlier. So it maybe it's predictable. I was like, it had been one old lady in this anime, it's gonna be her. The red haired girls were there, and it's like, oh, you're the Akashan. Yeah, I knew it. But yeah, that's a little weird though, she didn't tell her. And that was a very, very nice and very beautiful scene there, where she thanked her, and she was like, oh, that's the first time someone ever thanked me, probably. So that was very sad. Followed by some random kid pushing her down there, like walking into her, like, oh, move away, kid. It was like, that was weird though. That I feel though, actually made a little worse, I think, that episode. And I'm not being like sadder, it's sadder, but I think there's a little too much of like forced sorrow to the main character. Because it's kind of like, I get that she's a loner and she's no friends and she has powers and yada yada. But this, and her, of course, her cousins, I guess they are, hates her. It's like, oh, you make our mom sad, so we're gonna punch you and so on. Fine. I mean, they're bad people, but it makes sense. Like, logically it makes sense. But this random kids is on the street, like, put into her like that, right? Slowly. And he's like, oh yeah, my shoulder. It's like, shit, yeah. And he's like, start screaming at her. Oh, don't touch my shoulder. You hurt my shoulder, little. Yeah, and it's like, and yeah, because he's in the shoulder, right? He's like, hurt my shoulder, but her reaction is like, because she's very timid, very tiny, she's like falling to the ground, almost crying, right, in pain, and he's looking at her like, you deserve that. It's kind of like, what? Not really, but that kind of feeling to it. It's like, those kids need to be like 10 or something, walking to her, she's like 8 or something, right, she's almost crying on the ground, where a 10-year-old be like, you don't you dare touch me again. And Alfred's like, come on, man, it's time to beat her up. I have to go and play soccer or something. It's like, what? So I think that was a little, yeah, I didn't like that. That was too much like forcefully throwing salt into your wounds there to like force sadness. That doesn't work. I think that's just silly because it's so unrealistic. This is supposed to be normal people. It's kind of like, I remember when I watched Person Miki, and it's like every person in that anime, every teenager is like a huge delinquent thug. Everyone is that. So as soon as the main character like returns to the city after he has some fight out in the forest and so on in the last episode, he turns to the city, It's like walking, some random, like he's walking for like 1 minute in the city, like on the Shibuya or something like Tokyo, for like 1 minute or less, and suddenly 2 guys are like, "Oh man, you're gonna fight us" or something. He's like, it's just random guys talk up to him. He's like, "I'm gonna kill you now," and of course in President Mickey has present power, so he like kills them or something, or like beats them up. He's like, "Oh no, I don't move for this," and he kicks him in the face and he beats up something. And it's so ridiculous. Like, it makes it look so bad. Like that was a ridiculous failure in that anime. It had a lot of problems. But that was the worst shit that I ever had. It's like, okay, main character walks on like this random street for like half a minute after leaving the bus, and suddenly it's like, "Gonna fight you now!" It's like these random normal people. The problem that was everyone was that every damn kid was like a violent, extremely violent person in that anime. And I have to say that after watching the Yome, there was similar feels to it. Like everyone just hates her, except the Granny. Yeah, everyone else is like, "Walk in my pathway, kids." Everyone else is like, "Don't you dare walk in the sidewalk when I'm next to you." And that doesn't really make any sense. Because when I watched it, it reminded me of Phantom Brave. But Phantom Brave, everyone knows that Marona is some kind of weird ghost girl. Everyone hates her. She's bullied and hit by everyone. Everyone pushes her around. She's a puncher bag for all the islands, right? And she has a horrible life. But there at least everyone knows, kind of like Naruto, everyone knows that he has the cube inside of him. Everyone hates him, everyone knows he has the powers. But here she's just a random girl, and people are like, yeah, like on the street, like, "Yeah, move out." Kinda. It happened like, well, that scene was very notorious. And the other scenes was kind of like felt like that, especially her family. And I get it, but I do think it's a little too forced, right? Because the other little kids on the street, they don't know that she is a kind of ghost girl. They don't know that. Her family knows that. See what I mean? It's also like a Naruto, where everyone knows that Yakubi he's a demon child, and all the children knows that he has a demon inside of him, or the Yakubi fox that we have like the demon there. But the parents are kind of like, "Don't hang out with that kid, he has a demon," because X reason. Yeah, so everyone kind of avoids him and so on, and pushes him around, and it makes sense there. But here's like they act like they all know that she is this like I see dead people ghost girl, right? But they shouldn't. So I think that was the only weak point. That was a major weak point to me. Because I was like, this scene is sad. It's really sad. She's crying on the ground, but it's also like, it really makes no logical sense. This is just happening. It's just like, okay, like if her cousin did this, if they returned, living with their mom again, their mom, and they like punch her down, so that would be way better, I think. Because they hate her, and they have a reason to hate her. Joke should hate her, but at least would be some kind of reasoning behind why they would hate her, right? So anyway, I find it a really good anime. Sorry, I'm going to the negative point here, but I will say that, and I don't think it's a big problem in this fall coming because this is a flashback. But I see that that's something I've seen in a lot of animes where you kind of like have to enforce the hatred of this character or the fear and so on, and it's just like, why would this person hate her? It's kind of like Naruto moved to the Suna, right, another country, no one knows who he is, and people still be like, "I'm one kid," yeah, and everyone still would treat him horribly. Without knowing who he is, to be kind of like, yeah, everyone hates him. Like, why? That wouldn't make any sense. At least until they kind of get to know him and then hate him. But like, in the first week, like, come on. So anyway, see you guys. Have a great day.